Hello everyone, this is a bit of a different type of video that I usually do. This is going to be a show me your build. As you can see, I've already laid out basically what are the requirements or criteria for it. It's simple, I just wanted to make it, you know, as clear as I could, just in general. So it's going to be based on my Discord, because I have a section for this where you can explain everything. It's just easier for me. And if you have any notes to add to your character, like I said on the criteria, you can. I'm going to keep that on a notepad so I know essentially what you're doing. So, I guess we should get started. I'll be covering 12 builds every week. Sometimes a bit more just because they are quick to analyze or just to mention or highlight. But yeah, you're free to use Show Me Your Build just as a resource to get help or not. It's there. You're not forced to. Anyway, let's get started. This Ares comes from Queen Elincia. At least that's her Discord name, or his Discord name. So, good old Ares. So the IVs are a bit peculiar. They're attack plus def minus. A lot of people would think that's actually really bad for Ares, but it's not. It's really not. If you go def minus, you lose only 1 damage on bonfire, and unless you're, you know, own-calved on top, or, you know, attack tactic, and on top of that def tactic slash fortify cav, well, the def minus don't matter. And even if you are like buffing both attack and def by 6, right now it's equal. So if you have an extra 30 points, it's like, yay, I have an extra 1 damage with bonfire over Draconicora. It is not much. So it doesn't matter too much on that front. Now, people will say, yeah, but you use bulk. That is true. But res bulk would be more important. The reason I say this is because of Grima and other such character. Ares is extremely weak until he gets his specials going. So, as a result, essentially, just see it like this. If you can't get to your special, you're dead meat. You are dead weight. But the second you get to your special, you are far better. So if you have bulk in both def and res, this becomes easier. Also, if you go res minus, you have 21 res with summoner support and plus 10. You become extremely weak. It's the same logic as for Sigurd, which also does not want to have res minus. You'd think he won't res minus because of his sword in Crusader's Ward, but the whole fact that remains that you're dealing with dragons. And dragons don't care about any of that. So, as a result, yeah, you're kinda screwed if you're going res minus. You will struggle against even green dragons at times, because even green dragons will do just this much damage. A DB4 Grima will have 74 attack, for example, and despite combat triangle, he will have 60 attack. That's 36 HP right here. Yeah. So if you can reduce that as much as you can, it helps. And on top of that, if you run stuff like close defense to make up for it, it helps a whole lot more, because then you're at 30 res, with res tactic that's 36. So the damage becomes 24, it's a bit better. And at the same time, yeah, def minus hurts, but at the end of the day, it's 36 def versus 39, and that's unbuffed. You lose almost nothing over it at the end of the day. Losing 3 def, let's just put it this way. If you lose 3 def on 50 def, it doesn't matter, but if you lose 3 res on 20 res, well, even with buffs, that's like 3 res over 36 res, you lose more overall. Because sometimes you just have too much bulk anyway. Like, oh, you have 50 def. At this point, a 60 attack green armored unit does 0. Oh, if you're def minus, you have 47, now he does 1. Does it matter? Not really. This is a pretty solid set in general. I've actually used that on my alt from one of my friends called Onos on Discord. I used this Ares on my ult actually, because I had no unit, and I mean no unit, for my ult to do rival domains. And he proved to be really solid. Overall, if you have attack tactic, you are proccing 21 damage, Vantage makes you go first, on top of 70 attack, you tend to just one-shot a whole lot of things. If you're dealing with green units, you have 84 attack effectively. That's without drives. So yeah, this is pretty solid. Speed tactic is also really solid because while his speed is middling, unless you're using him in PvE, he doesn't really need the speed. And if you use him in PvE, you're using him in a horse team, because it doesn't matter at that point. So, speed tactic can help just getting that extra bit of speed on other unit that actually needs it far more than he does. So yeah, pretty good set. Don't really have much to say other than this. The reason why I wanted to highlight it is because people consider Def Minus on a tank to be a terrible Bane. It's not always the case. This is a great example of why it's not. Anyway, let's move on to an Attack Plus Def Minus Morgan Mail by Appy. Now, or actually, no, that's Speed Plus Def Minus, my bad. I want to see something here, and it's quite simple. Def Minus is a bad Bane for him. You'd rather go Res Minus unless you plan on using Ploys. The reason why is purely because of Dragons. Dragons will target your Def, and a lot of DC unit will also target your Def. So losing Def is kind of bad, and if you go Res Minus, you lose literally no bulk against Dragon because you have 29 Def and 29 Res. You have tied in both stats. So at the end of the day, you lose no bulk, and it's just better for just tanking in general. Now, as for the rest, Dragon Fang can be pretty good in PvE, or if you get in Desperation range. So I see no problem with that one. It can be a bit tricky at times, but for the most part, it works. Other than that, not much to say. It's just a decent set. Just like I said, you might want to change the IVs from Speed Plus Def Minus to Speed Plus Res Minus. Fury Desperation is pretty basic, but it just gets the job done, and also if you kill the unit, you just get a free buff on your team, so it's good. Don't think there's actually a better special for him as it stands, which is kind of funny because Dragon Fang tend to be just the worthless skill that is just there, but people don't use. So, yeah. Moving on to Ezzy's Bright Minion. Also, Attack Plus Def Minus. A whole lot of Attack Plus Def Minus on the list, Jesus. Now, people would be like Attack Plus Res Minus would be better, in the same kind of vein as Morgan, but you lose on... You actually get pushed off a BST bit. So that's why in general, Attack Plus... Is that Speed Plus? Am I stupid? 42, 37... No, that's Attack Plus. Gotcha. So, okay, so... I should have verified my fucking screenshots. So... Oh, also, would be good to specify Boons and Banes. I completely forgot to add that to the list. Damn it. But, yeah. So... Res Minus actually kicks you down a BST bin because it's a super bin. I will say though, especially that's gonna be something really nice to hear for Ezzy, but we're getting dual skills, which makes them score for 170 BST, so if you get a Res Minus at that point, you lose nothing. Because your BST will be just jumping up to 170, so for Arena that would be great. But we don't have the right dual skill for her yet. But once we get Blue Flyer Dual, yeah, our BST is basically jumping by 30 in terms of scoring, which would be equal to 3 merges. Yeah, it's quite a huge increase, to say the least. That's increasing the unit's value by 12 points. The more you know. The only thing I would say is Fury Desperation might definitely be a good option, especially for PvE maps where you're dealing with multiple units or reinforcements, or Tempest Trial, Chain Challenge, that kind of stuff. Outside of that, looks good. Draconic Aura would also be a good option if you want her to be more of a wall breaker. Because Draconic Aura ignores Combat Triangle, whereas Glimmer is completely dependent on your damage, which can get skewed because of Combat Triangle. That's pretty much it though. Moving on to Classio Attack, whose attack plus HP minus Seth. So, alright. Attack plus HP minus is a good boon / bane. Though it really depends on where you're gonna use him. If you're gonna use him in Arena, attack plus HP minus is definitely a good option. However, if you're going to use him as a all-purpose unit, speed plus HP minus can actually help a bit more. Because at that point you might find an actual unit that will be able to just not get doubled at 45 speed. Or, you know, it's just kind of useful in general. I will say though, if you plan on using him in Arena or as a AA unit, giving him Armor Smasher down the line would be a great idea as well. Probably refine it to defense instead though, because if you're going to deal with armored units, in general defense is the better boon, as there's not that many armored units that would fail to get doubled at 36 speed, which is unbuffed at that point, so... But outside of that, looks also pretty solid. You already, attack plus is actually probably not that good, just because 67 attack is a bit over the top. So yeah, speed plus would probably be better in a lot of cases. Otherwise, looks good. Let's move on to parry. I do have a good deal to say about that parry. This is a parry from Pokemon Legend 247. So, alright, this is attack plus res minus, which is not bad, but I feel like speed plus res minus would be better. You're already hitting 60 attack without the attack plus. And at that point you can actually run Heavy Blade as a seal and still have 43 speed. If you want to still go with attack plus res minus, unless you're you are using Floyd. I would say just if you're running Desperation, run Heavy Blade. Because as a result you're going to be attacking then proccing Iceberg instantly. Iceberg will be doing 18 damage, Glimmer is completely dependent on what the enemy has, to a point where I'd say even Moonbow is better if you're going to go with this set, without Heavy Blade. If you go with Heavy Blade though, Iceberg is definitely the way to go. 18 damage every freaking fight is really useful. Outside of that, looks pretty decent. Also, I do want to say, if you run Heavy Blade, you're going up an SP bit. Oh, wait, no. You're not. You're not. My bad. I forgot that you also have a weapon that's 350 SP. But, yeah. So, yeah. yeah. Moving on to Sophia. I'm trying to be a bit quicker in my analysis, unless there's a lot to say. A lot of horse units and a lot of mages don't have a whole lot to say because they just don't have many options. Every skills that have been coming out lately have been infantry, armor, and only for melee base unit. Mages, what are those? You get fuck all. Go eat shit. Like, that sucks. It really does. But it is what it is. Anyway, this is a Sophia from DU11, or Dole, I guess. So, alright. This is basically a basic Sophia, attack plus speed minus. Not a bad idea at all. I will say one thing I will actually mention. You have 35 res and you're not taking advantage of that. What's up with that? Since you have 35 res, you might want to run Attack Ploy, since you're meant to be a tank. With Radar Howl, and on top of that, well, with 2 people, let's just say 2 people, because that's more consistent. You have 41 def and 39 res. Of course, Ploy will only take 35 res into consideration. It takes your stats unbuffed as consideration. Buffs will fuck that up though, because the Ploy check happens before the buffs gets in. So, just want to point that out. So, you have 41 def and 39 res. If you go with def and res tactic, which I feel like you most likely are, I'm not too sure. The build was not really precise on that one. 47 def, 45 res. So as a result, you're already really bulky, right? And you probably run drives also to really take advantage of this. Now, here's the thing. Since you're really bulky to begin with, if you have Attack Ploy, you're also adding to that bulk. And on top of that, you're helping your teammates. So yeah, I feel like Attack Ploy would be your best C slot to use. Drive speed is cool and all, and it's good that you use that on her because she doesn't need the speed herself. But at the end of the day, a Ploy is kind of cheap to get. Attack Ploy costs us Julius. Julius being not that great, especially when you have a Sophia that is this built. It kind of just shits all over fucking Julius, because Julius is only able to take magic, and this Sophia is able to take magic and melee. Something that Julius should have been able to do, but okay. Like, if anything, I was expecting Julius to power creep Sophia, but that didn't happen. Instead, he became a rest tank for no reason. But it is what it is. But yeah, like I said, just essentially change the C slot to Attack Ploy. Renewal is good, it gives her a bit more survivability, and at the same time, mages don't have a whole lot of option. Quick Riposte is obviously required, but that's already in the C slot. And then the B slot could be Vantage, but you lose score as a result. A Chill skill, but those are almost unpredictable because you don't know, like, even if you know how the AI moves, taking advantage of that to hit the target that gets hit by the chill can be kind of difficult. So it is what it is. Renewal is probably your best option, both from a cost perspective and a consistency perspective. So yeah, also chill res is kind of, you know, locked. It's locked to... It's locked to Sprinkatria until we got the banner that's running right now, the fucking Dorian Dusk, I think. Now Ophelia also has it, and again, it's kind of unpredictable, so it won't help that much. That's pretty much all I have to say, though. Oh, and for those who want to know my analysis of the Norian banner, I'm still waiting on the rates. The person that calculates the rates for me is very busy in real life right now, so I get the rate kind of late. The entire presentation is done. Like, it's already ready to just being released. So yeah. But sadly, I guess I'm a bit of a perfectionist on that regard, because I do want to post it. I do. But I feel like it'd be a drop of quality in a way, because I would not be showing everything. That's just me, though. Anyway, let's move on. Alright, Claire. So, this Claire is attack plus def minus and came from Hyperblade 67. Attack plus def minus is kind of tricky to go with, especially with hit and run. First off, hit and run does not score too well in Arena. Second, the second you get hurt, which is very likely with def minus, for anything that is not red, because blue units will unsurprisingly have a whole lot of HP. Gwendolyn is very, very, very able to take a single hit from Claire. Same thing with Effie to some extent, to a lesser extent, but still she can hit over 60 HP, depending on how high you go. So, yikes. Speedploy definitely helps in PvE content, but if you're talking about PvP content, Attack Ploy is going to serve you far more, especially because of her bulk. If you're talking about IVs, HP minus would probably be the better IV to go with, outside of maybe the Zelgius matchup. But if you buff her enough, if your team is good enough for buffing her, and you run Deathploy and hit him with Deathploy, he'll most likely just die in one hit. So there's that. Desperation would probably be a better option, so you're not completely useless if you can't one-shot the unit and your HP is a bit too low. Especially now, because let's be honest here, Effie can reach how much attack again? Like in the 60s? You're taking 33 HP a swing. You might be able to kill her if she doesn't run Wary Fighter. If she runs Wary Fighter, you still have to tank her. So, yikes. At the end of the day, you're very fragile after that, and even a character as simple as Gwen, Sheena, etc. could just one-shot you. There's also a whole lot of green units that are, well, green and armored, which means they can easily tank Claire pretty well, but with Desperation they can't tank her twice, so you actually have a good shot at it. Hit and run is cool and all, but it will hold you back a lot in Arena. That's the whole thing. And like I said, Attack Ploy is going to help your survivability a lot. This is why I hate Speed Ploy in some ways. Like, I know you're using Speed Ploy to make Rompaya more consistent, but 42 speed is consistent enough in Arena, I feel like. But Speed Ploy in itself is, if I'm being honest, tied with Res Ploy for Worse Ploy in some ways. It helps certain builds, but it mostly helps them in PvE, where speed is not so low. In PvP, however, finding a unit with over 40 speed is actually really rare. Even Speed plus Zelgius only hit 40 speed, so yeah. Yikes. If you run something as simple as Drive Speed, you still double that. And also, Speed plus Zelgius is kind of rare to begin with, because Speed plus is not his best IV. As a matter of fact, it's Attack plus that is his best IV by a long shot because of how Black Luna works. So yeah, I feel like, oh, and I forgot you also have Swiss Barrow, so you anyway you still double anyway. So Speed Ploy does not help you all that much at the end of the day. Attack Ploy though would, especially if you have to tank Black Luna or a Effie, etc. You can tank them way safer. Even green unit to some extent you'll be able to tank and kill. If you can just take one hit, you will be able to kill a lot of them. Effective damage is no joke. After all, you have effectively 84 attack on this unit. And I mean, we've seen my Quan with 82 attack just KO a legendary actor in one go without taking damage because of Desperation. Granted, my Quan does hit 82 attack, so basically about the same as this girl, so, you know. But it's the same kind of logic here. So yeah, like I said, Attack Ploy, and maybe it's changed the B to Desperation. Now let's move on to Adult Tiki, which unfortunately is HP plus speed minus. Vidar did tell me that, you know, he just was not lucky with getting IVs. It is what it is. Hopefully later on he actually gets a speed minus death plus, or speed minus res plus, or speed minus attack plus. All of those are basically better than what he has. So yeah, this is a pretty typical set. I would just say, if you're talking about Arena, however, well, yeah, right now you end with a 20, so you don't actually get anything for changing guard. If you change swap for a double rally, however, you need to replace guard if you want to keep using lightning breath. But if you have Breath of Fog on top of it, you can actually keep guard, because the only way to actually go up an SP bin at that point becomes Distant Counter, DB4, or the upcoming dual skills, but we don't have the infantry red ones, so that's that. So yeah, this is pretty solid. This is just consistent in general. Like I said, Breath of Fog, double rally if you want to score in arena. Otherwise, this is a pretty good PvE set. If you're going to go for this kind of set for PvE and PvP, you'll most likely want to go Res Plus, Speed minus Res Plus, because this lets you deal with Grima a little bit easier, take a bit less damage, because you'll be sitting at 37 Res. Also 41 Def is cool and all, so that also helps. And yeah, I don't think I have much more to add. Though, no, actually I do have something to add. Attack tactic might be better on a different unit, because she can actually abuse the attack buff. Especially with Breath of Fog. Breath of Fog actually is, what, giving you 5 attack and 5 def. If you go attack plus, that's 61 attack. So if you have attack plus, if you have attack tactic on someone else, well, let's just put it this way, you actually get a free 67 attack dragon. At that point you hit like a truck. I really do wish 30 stance was in the pool, but sadly it's just yet to be added. All we have is legendary effort for it, because if she could have 30 stance, this could be also really good just for straight up damage. You actually break the 70 attack as a result. Especially with Breath of Fog, because Steady Breath is kinda lost on it when it comes down to Aether. To some extent, since it's not an even amount of charges. But yeah, I think that is about it though. Let's move on. So this is from the Maze IAS. The Maze IS. I hope I didn't butcher that. Of course, this is neutral. This is a Valter. He's saying he's going to use it for arena. He's also going to add an extra merge, and he's going to use Heavy Blade as a seal. Now, this is already pretty decent, because even with life and death he still retains enough bulk to be relevant, especially with death tactic and such. But let me give you a better example. Right now, because you're using Curse Lance and Repo, well, you'll most likely change that to double rally. After all, he's not the one that's going to be repoed. Well, he's the one that's most likely going to be repoed, sorry. Rather than him repoing people. So, increasing for score, because you're going to use him in arena, would definitely be a good idea. But, say you want to keep reposition. You're using Heavy Blade. You are just in a new SP bin. I would say, first off, Panic Polish with 43 HP is not great. Even with arena bonus, it's only 53, so depending on how much you score, it might not even be all that useful. So you might want to just shift the 240 SP skill to your A slot. Make it Brazen Attack Def, because his weapon actually synergizes with Brazens. It also keeps his bulk, and makes him hit 42 defense actually, once he gets in Brazen range. He has the bulk to get into the range. And also, you just don't have any loss in def and res, which just helps. His speed is already good enough to some extent, so especially since drive speed is now a seal, you can actually push that speed up to, say, 37, and if you use double rally and someone else with speed res, which is, I believe, from Oscar, you'll be able to just buff that up to 40. So, alright, 44 with arena bonuses, of course. And the attack will go up to 62 attack as well. And because of arena bonuses, 46 defense as well once you get in brazen range. Getting in brazen range is not too hard on a bonus unit, because you end up having just so much HP for no reason. Especially if you summon or support him, because that's what you should do on every bonus unit you plan on using in arena. Like, hands down, it's just so useful. Because summoner support on top of arena bonus unit is 15 HP and 6 to every stats. It does a massive difference. It's like you had Emblem buffs that can't be panicked and just get an extra 15 HP because LOL XD. So yeah, at that point getting to brazen range is not difficult, and you get more out of it in general. Desperation would still be consistent as well, because it still hit 40 speed pretty consistently. Just thought I'd point that out. As for the C slot, you might wonder why I want to replace it for something else. The something else in question is Threatened Death. If you're dealing with anything melee based, which is most likely the case if you're scoring about 730 or more, well, Threatened Death can actually help get kills such as armored units that you would normally not get the kills on. If you get a double, that's an extra 10 damage, which is definitely good. It's the kind of reason why my Quan was killing Grimas. So, you know. I think OG Hector was the only Grin I needed outside health to kill on my entire arena run. And that's because he had 62 health. Because he had supports of 2 legendary heroes. And he was plus 10, like Jesus. And by the way, I was like 6 HP off of killing him. So yeah, if it wasn't for the legendary unit, I would have gotten the kill. The more you know. So yeah, Threatened Death would definitely help you. Outside of that, not much else to say. Heavy Blade is definitely a great choice, especially once you're in brazen range and with arena and summoner support. It's just extremely consistent. Like, you have 57 attack with summoner support and arena bonus unit. 57 attack unbuffed. Drive attack, attack tactic, all that kind of thing just makes Heavy Blade consistent as shit. And well, it's just what it is. And on top of that, once you're in brazen range, 64 attack. Hello, armored unit Chan, I actually have more attack than you now. So, you know, it's just pretty good all around. Let's move on to Silas from Gamer. Now this is something I wanted to point out in the Norian video, but so I might as well point it here, since someone actually did the set. Silas is very close to Lucas' stat line, but unlike Lucas, he also has more res and more movement. He has the same attack, 2 less defense, sorry, and a bit more speed, which, oh well. He also has 5 less HP, sadly, but that is what it is. So as a result, if you go speed minus res plus, you end up having 3628. Well, 3624 actually. If you inherit Berkut's Lance and refine it to res, that's 3628. And because of Berkut's Lance, you have 36 def and 35 res. You are an effective mixed tank Lucas. As dumb as this sounds. So yeah, Silas can be definitely really well used like this. He's basically a slightly better Berkut as a result. But yeah. Just basically Lucas on a horse, but able to also become a res tank, dependent on how you build him. Gamer did have other sets as well, but I thought this one was more fitting considering we just got the units. So yeah. Guard is also fantastic to prevent, you know, follow-ups. Defrest Tactic will just make this monster of a unit hit 42 defense and 41 res. At that point, you're already extremely bulky, but you can take it a step forward, because if you add to that say, oh, I don't know, arena bonuses and summoner support because next week. Well, 48 defense, 47 res, 60 HP, sounds good. I mean, I do feel it sounds good. Don't even need an A slot to improve that. So yeah, definitely a good set. He's definitely one of the better users of Berkut's Lance, ironically enough. So, let's move on. So, alright, this one is more of a help. Well, he was asking me for help on that one. So, here goes. This Setsuna is P plus def minus. This is from Crow. Essentially, all he wants to know is how to build her. And all I have to say is Setsuna is such an unfortunate unit. Speed plus does not really help her unless you go for a slaying set. And if you go for a slaying set, well, it's kind of shaky because she already has very little attack. Fire Sweep also is kind of out of the question because there's just so many better users of it that actually have an attack stat. Nina just got released and she's basically Setsuna with 4 more attack and an actual res stat, which kind of sucks in a way, but it is what it is. It's just, she's the daughter of Niles. Like father, like daughter. But to put it simply, Brave Bow is probably still the best kit for her. As sad as this is to say, and even then she uses it honestly, objectively worse than a lot of other archers. For example, George. For example, Takumi. Summer Takumi. There's plenty of units. Just she does have decent mixed bulk, so she does have that going for her. Def minus is definitely a bad way to go. HP minus would also suck to some extent. If you can get attack plus res minus for a Brave Bow set, it's probably the best one you could go for. The reason why you'd want to go Brave weapons, even though her attack is so low, is because you can consistently quad because of her speed, and because you can consistently quad because of her speed, well, you can just proc Luna, and every bit of attack you buff her with just helps tremendously. For example, this is speed plus. Let's drop that already. Let's put Brave Bow instead. I believe Guard Bow is 12 might, so I would lose 5 might. That's 37 attack, which is sad, but it is what it is. You go attack plus, that's 40 attack. You go life and death, that's 45. Granted, at that point, unless you get rise minus, you are in danger purely because of the lack of bulk. Unlike George, sadly. But it's still the best alternative you have. Setsuna is one of those units that's like really aged 40 and never was really that great to begin with. Quatsuna and all those memes aside, when you realize how Brave Bow worked and you used other archers that actually had better defenses, better attack, you realize that the speed does not help all that much. If you can kill in 2 hits, it's way better, because Setsuna would just get crunched in 1, and that's a problem. Yes, you can run the Ardent Sacrifice setup, but that makes Setsuna worthless until you actually get to the point of Ardent Sacrifice. As a result, you have to actually buff up her bulk with Def Tactic, Rest Tactic, and so on. It sucks, but it is what it is. You can't actually go out of that. It's just how the unit is. So yeah, with Life and Death you have 45 attack. If you have Threat and Death, as long as it's not a ranged unit, that's a minus 5 at Death, so you have an effective 50 attack. Attack plus 3 Seal, that's 53 attack. Attack Tactic, because honestly you cannot use her in a non-mixed team anyway. That's 59 attack. it's basically as good as it gets. If you run a double drive attack, that's also a great idea, but that's basically all you can do at this point. It sucks. It is what it is. Oh well. Let's move on. It's 59 attack, Brave Bow, which is still decent enough. Luna, Desperation, probably a decent enough idea. Of course, unlike George, would just break stuff in 2 hits, and the few matchup he struggles with, you can just have a breaker to break through. And also, you know, Wary Fighter is not a problem all that much for George, unlike Setsuna. Do keep that in mind. You still have about 59 attack. Inspiration is really your best bet, like I said, because if she takes a hit and survive, which she should because of Death Tactic, Death Tactic and Res Tactic with Life and Death 3, I mean she'd have 22 Death and 26 Res. That means 61 bulk and, well, bulk. If you can go HP minus instead, I believe that's a Super Bane. I'm not too sure on that one. If it is a Super Bane, you really want to get Res minus. Because if you get Res minus, yes, it's bad for a matchup like Grima. You'll only have 63 bulk at plus 10. But at that point, it's fucking Grima. Grima is a problem in general. Yes, George can tank it, but it's because of summoner support in a lot of cases, and Setsuna is no different. If your summoner support her, she should be able to tank it. Because of the extra 5 HP. So, yeah. Like I said, Res Minus is probably your best bet here as a result. Dragons don't tend to hit as much attack unlike Grima, so if you can check Grima because of summoner support, that's basically your only bet here. It sucks. And also you told me Fire Sweep is out of the question, it's too expensive. Which, oh well, I mean, you can't really do anything on that part. And Slaying is just... Slaying would give you a bit more bulk. But let's see how that goes, right? Because 59 attack against Grima is something like 19 times 4. If you live a hit, you kill it. Let's see with Slaying Bow instead. So you have 5 more speed, but Slaying Bow basically buff your attack to by 5, so 64 attack. If you run Flashing Blade with Slaying Bow, it's probably gonna do well, actually. Yeah, Slaying Bow would probably be a good option as well. If you go Speed Plus or... Oh my god. I fucking hate how Refine works on range units because they get less out of it. If you go Speed Plus, that's 2 points of speed. If you go Attack Plus, that's 1 point. Fucking yay. So, as a result, it's kind of hard to say anything because you kind of don't care about the bulk. I would say if you want to have a bit better bulk overall, you could keep the Death Minus, like Attack Plus Death Minus, and go Death Refine on the Slaying Bow, so you have 25-25, or 27-27 at plus 10. With Slaying Bow, that's 44 HP as well, which... Alright, you have 71 bulk, and even with Life and Death 3, well, you have 64 bulk. Grima is still a problem. He hits as high as 66 attack, actually, because of Legendary Hector. But at that point, if you run Death and Res Tactic, you have 26-26 with 44 HP. You actually can tank Grima without summoner support. Slaying Bow would basically be up to 64 attack if you proc Threaten Death. And, well, 64 attack with Flashing Blade and Desperation. You start hitting once for about 24, then you attack a second time for 44 because of Luna proc. You actually kill him. As long as you can double your enemy, Luna is going to basically save your ass, thankfully because of Flashing Blade. Slaying Bow is probably actually our best bow now that I think about it. I was expecting Brave Bow to really be the only one, but thankfully Flashing Blade came out because fucking hell, Heavy Blade would never work with her. Look at that attack stat, Wet Noodle worthy. Look, you have as high as 59 actual attack. Armored units with 60 attack are not uncommon. That's cute. Flashing Blade, on the other hand, she does have the speed for it, so it's an option. So yeah, and also if you know, plus 10 her and go attack plus, which you should, because honestly her speed is already good enough as is, you'll have 41 speed, or 46 speed because of life and death. Again, speed plus becomes irrelevant at this point. All you want is attack. So, attack plus is just best for her. You'll have pretty good offense as a result, and slaying bow will just make Soluna as a 2 cooldown, so flashing blade becomes really good. Getting desperation range can be threatening at first, but then you realize, as long as you have death and rest tactic up, you have 70 bulk, and as long as you can tank a hit and do 2 hits, you should, in theory, be able to just kill because of Luna proc. The calculation I've done against Grima were a Grima with 40 defense, which is not consistent at all. Hello, phone. It's not consistent at all. Where's my phone? Fuck up, phone. What was I saying? Oh yeah, 40 defense on Grima is pretty inconsistent. He usually has less, but I prefer calculating with him having more just in case a drive death happens, and even with like buffs making it 40, he still gets fucked. Like, he gets destroyed, essentially, is what happens. He takes basically 68 damage and usually has he has way less than 60 health. So you should be fine, and he's basically the hardest matchup for her. Just because of the sheer amount of, you know, damage he does. Now, Zelgius would be a problem actually, but since you have life and death and all, you actually double him, and as long as you're in desperation, you kill him. There's plenty of armored units she can tank a single hit off, and that's basically all that matters. The second you are fully buffed and all, you actually have so much attack you can actually just body straight up the unit, get in desperation as a result, and just destroy afterwards. So yeah, I hope that helps. Moving on to, well, peculiar sets. For those who have been following me when I'm doing show me your build with show me your build with sages, that's a tongue twister. I presented this Jacob from Roan Zoner, and the same person actually posted another set in my Discord, which, yeah, this Jacob is actually far better than people might think. 62 attack with just double drive. Actually, no, 62 attack with just this set by himself, as long as it's an odd turn, is insane. 68 attack with double drive attack is basically able to just one-shot Grima, so the fact that he can't use Desperation with it is completely fine. Renewal actually gives him support where it matters. It's just a really solid set in general. So, let's move on to the other one. This one I do have stuff to say though. I see you've given her Safeguard and Death Wave, also Fortress Death, to make her a bulky defense unit that can actually hit 50 defense, and actually upward to 54 defense because of Legendary Ephraim. But here's the thing. While you do a lot with Ignis, your attack is kind of low to begin with, which is fine, as long as the procs are good. And I see you use Ignis with Warding Breath, so you get attack, and then you proc. But here's the thing. 50 def is cool and all, but if the unit has Bolt Fighter, well, let's just say it's easier for you to tank it, but you're losing charges. At that point, Aether might even be better in some cases, so you can just keep the HP back. Well, you keep getting the HP back essentially from Aether, so you can keep going, keep tanking. But here's the thing. As it stands, Ignis does upward to 40 damage. This is good. I'm not considering Legendary Ephraim on this because I'm not too sure if he's actually part of the team. But you do 40 damage with Ignis. If you would use Nameless Blade, however, and you'd use, I don't know, Bonfire, so you're still at 43 def, well, you're getting 21 damage. And because of Nameless Blade's Wadao effect, you're getting 31 damage. You have you have 9 less damage, but the thing that makes Bonfire so much more preferable is because of Nameless Blade, the 3 cooldown becomes a 2 cooldown, meaning you get hit for 2, get 2 charges, right? And then you proc Bonfire immediately. The reason why this is great is quite simple. That way you can prevent a second hit from happening before it even happens. And also, if Raph is in the picture, well, you're comparing 41 damage because of Nameless Blade's Wadao effect and Raph built in. 41 damage to 50 damage. You are already killing a lot of unit with the 41 damage proc. 50 damage might be a bit better to get sure kills. But one of the things that makes Bonfire also preferable is, well, first off, if you get bolt fightered, 43 defense should be enough to actually tank it because they generally use Aether, which means Aether is just, well, that's cute. I find that adorable because you can't proc it with bolt fighter unless you have 2 charge cooldown reduce, which means slaying, and on top of that, Lecter, Osteopulse. So it's not that dangerous. Zelgus is dangerous, however, but I mean, regardless of what you would do with that set, you're losing to him unless you one-shot him. So yikes! And I don't think you can actually one-shot him, not with this set. So yeah. The thing that makes Bonfire preferable, however, is because you have a 2 cooldown, you can just start the next turn, run away, then wait another turn, and on that turn, Raph is basically giving you another charge. So you have Bonfire ready straight up. So you can, and that's the big problem I have with Safeguard, it's not multi-phase. You can only use it on, you know, enemy phase. If you have to take the initiative, you don't get the 7 defense. Actually, I'm bad. I'm stupid. You actually have 39 defense because you don't get the Death Refine as well. So well, no, actually, you still get 40. Wait, no, I'm stupid. You do get 39 Death instead. So okay, my bad on that. The actual number is 29 and 39 with Raph versus 40 and 50 with Raph. My bad. Still, the fact remains you can just back out for a while with Bonfire, charge it up basically the next turn, and then come back and attack with it. Nameless Blade is working on both phases. It makes you able to abuse Raph a bit more, and it makes you just able to just, you know, kill on your player phase more consistently. That way you have both a player phase and an enemy phase. This is not a bad set by any means, I'm just giving you an idea if you want to do something a bit different that basically would work on 2 phases. I do also want to point out you also will gain 2 more attack, so I guess in a way you could say the special damage increased the damage by 41 versus 50 as a result. Whatever, you get the point. It's still a pretty solid special monger, but like I said, Nameless Blade would probably help you more. And I don't have anything else to say about it. I'm gonna keep it like this. And, well, if you do want to participate in the next one, I'm going to most likely... I think I'm going to do the next one on the 1st of September. Yeah, let's go in the past. On the 1st of October, sorry. And yeah, it's gonna be on the 1st of October. I think I'm going to be opening the Show Me Your Build section for it on the 21st of September. Outside of that, I don't think I have anything else left to add. If you do want to join to share your build, ask questions, etc., well, you can join Discord. I'm actually going to leave the link in the description as usual. And as usual, you guys have a nice day. Take care, everyone.